Alright, hey everybody, how's it going today? Roger says hey. I'll say hey for Scarlett, she's below me on the floor right now. So some of you may have seen my videos on the French Revolution from Oversimplified. I did those months ago at this point. But I remember in that video, they were talking about there were several revolutions and I guess several republics, and I was kind of taken aback by that because I thought that there was just one French Revolution, had no idea about the rest of it. And I had this video that we're doing today as a suggestion from a few people, but there is one person in particular that has gone to great lengths to get me to watch this video, and that is Fritos 3. Fritos 3 has now gone on a hunger strike apparently. Well, Fritos, just like Gandhi, your hunger strike has worked and I have relented and we're going to be doing this video today. But I don't mean it to sound like I have to do it. I actually am interested in this subject and want to learn more about French history, I guess, with this. So I guess my big question is, what happened after the French Revolution? Why did France keep going back and forth between, I guess, monarchy and republic? But once again, we're doing a video from History Matters. This will be my second video from this channel in a week, I think. You guys seem to really like History Matters. My only beef with them is that they go really fast with their videos. I did think about slowing this one down to like 3/4 speed, but when I did that, it just sounded weird. So we're just gonna play this at normal speed. I might have to pause every once in a while, guys, because he goes so fast, it's hard for me to like input all of this information the first time through. So if you don't like that, don't watch a reaction video. Go watch the original video yourself if you don't like pauses or breaks or anything like that. That said, I will try to listen fast so I don't have to pause nearly as much. Alright, so let's learn about why France is on its 5th Republic.
The formal name for France today is the 5th French Republic. The 5th, which, as I'm sure you'll be aware, is more republics than most nations go through. This factoid raises the obvious question: how? How has France gone through so many republics? So the only way to find this out is by looking at why the first 4 republics failed and what led to the French continuously implementing new ones. So the first French Republic, the one with all the guillotining, aka the fun one, was brought into being in 1792 after the French Revolution 3 years earlier. It was, to put it mildly, pretty unstable, and it saw several forms of republican government ending in the consulate, whereby 3 men, consuls led by the first consul, Napoleon Bonaparte, ran the country as a dictatorship. In 1804, Napoleon proclaimed the establishment of the French Empire with himself as its emperor. That's Republic number 1 dead. Napoleon's rule would come to an end in 1815 when all of Europe barring Poland united against him. And after he was ousted came the Bourbon Restoration, which brought back the old Bourbon royal family with Louis XVIII as France's new constitutional monarch. He ruled for about a decade before catching a mild case of death, and he was succeeded by Charles X. Charles wasn't too keen on being a constitutional monarch, and so he tried to make himself an absolute one. This didn't sit well with the French people, revolution, and Charles was replaced by a constitutional monarch, Louis Philippe. Now, Louis Philippe did respect the limits on his power, but he unfortunately presided over a decline in French living standards, and so, revolution. This revolt, part of the broader 1848 revolution, saw the creation of a presidential republic, which then elected a man called Louis Napoleon as president. Now, the French constitution prevented the president from seeking...
Okay, so I have to pause it here, guys. That's a lot of information to take in. All right. So the second revolution basically was, it looks like it was a broader thing across Europe. He said the revolutions. So I don't know what that is. Did that result in some sort of, was that, is there like a name for that in Europe? Is it just called the revolutions? Are there any wars that came out of that? Actually, I want to go back and I want to look at which countries. So
revolt, part of the broader...
Okay, I don't know if it's just where the fires are is where the revolutions are happening or not, but that's like most of Europe right there. Spain's not in it, UK's not in it, but we don't have like the Netherlands, Belgium, that area, and of course like the Nordic countries, Scandinavia, it's not in it up there. But the vast majority of Europe is in that the revolutions. I feel like this is a huge event in Europe. It probably has a name that I've heard of before in history, but I don't know. So this is the second revolution, basically. And then we have another Napoleon come in.
1848 revolution saw the creation of a presidential republic, which then elected a man called Louis Napoleon as president. Now, the French constitution prevented the president from seeking re-election, which Louis Napoleon didn't like, and so he did what all capable men would. He overthrew the government in 18...
I want to see, are these like legit laws or whatever? Preamble goes here. We're a republic, kings suck. We have a president. He serves 4-year terms. He can only serve 1 term. No more slavery. After 3 years, the sitting president shouldn't launch a coup to retain power. That would be uncool. I mean, obviously this is comedic exaggeration, but I wonder, like, the stuff like no more slavery, conserve one term, and all of that stuff, that's probably real.
Election, which Louis Napoleon didn't like, and so he did what all capable men would. He overthrew the government in 1851 and declared the establishment of a second French Empire, with himself ruling as Napoleon III. That's Republic number 2 dead. Napoleon reigned until 1870, when he made the silly mistake of picking a fight with Prussia. Prussia won, Napoleon was captured, and during his captivity, members of parliament declared him deposed in the institution of another French Republic. Now, the Third French Republic was a successful one, and despite a deeply divided electorate, it managed to survive until 1940, when France fell to Germany in the Second World War. Most of it was occupied, and the bits that remained free from occupation became the French state led by Philippe Pétain. That's Republic number 3 dead. As you'll know, many in France opposed Pétain, and the Free French forces in exile would end up regaining control of the country in 1945 when it was liberated by the Allies. There was a nationwide referendum the next year which approved the creation of a Fourth Republic. Now, the Fourth Republic was a bit different. The French Parliament and Prime Minister had immense power, whereas the President had very little. The Fourth Republic also attempted to bring many of France's colonies into France itself. Most preferred independence, and as the French Empire disintegrated, it was only Algeria which became a formal part of France. Now, the Fourth Republic was, frankly, a hot mess. Political divisions were extreme and Parliament was in complete deadlock. And this deadlock caused problems for the French military, since the constant changes in policy meant that they couldn't secure Algeria and the rest of the French Empire. This upset them, and so to stop Algeria from falling away, they did the only thing they could in 1958. They staged a coup. This saw parts of the French military seize control of Algeria and soon afterwards Corsica. President René Coty declared that the Fourth Republic had failed and that civil war was inevitable unless Charles de Gaulle returned as president. De Gaulle was basically instated as a dictator for 6 months with near unlimited power, and during the period he oversaw the creation of a new constitution. In September of 1958, de Gaulle put this new constitution to the people in an empire-wide referendum, which was overwhelmingly backed. The Fourth Republic was dead. Long live the Fifth Republic.
Okay. So, this is the problem with not pausing, guys, is that I have questions that come up, and then if I don't pause right then and ask the question, it just gets out of my mind, and then I forget about it. So, this is why I pause it during the video. So, this is post-World War II. The Allies took over or liberated France, and then some coalition inside France kind of took over and they established the Fourth Republic. So that's where we're at right now, and they have Algeria as a formal part of France. So what does that mean exactly? Does that mean that it's France, or is it just a colony of France? Like, what does that mean? Okay, so it's weird to me that, that de Gaulle was installed as a dictator, and they had to do that apparently in order to reestablish a republic. That's a really interesting way to go about it. Whatever works, I guess. So I guess my big question with all of this is what in the world was wrong with France's constitution that they couldn't keep a republic going? That's my big question with this, is why did the republics keep failing? Were there not safeguards in place to keep that from happening? Okay, and so finally my question about this map right here. This shows the French Empire in the 1958, I guess. So when did the French Empire basically dissolve? Because I know there was a big like decolonization push after World War II. I'm assuming France was part of that, as well as like the UK, and I guess the rest of Europe, because I think almost every country in Europe seemed to have part of Africa as part of their colonies. Oh, France had Madagascar too. That's interesting. I think that's all of my questions. I had to go back through that and kind of watch a little bit on my own again to remember what questions I had. Alright, so there you have it. Appreciate it, Fritos3, for the suggestion and for you pushing me almost on every video that I have put out in recent months to remind me to do this video. I definitely learned more about France's history, most of it, I guess, since Napoleon. I did know the basics of the French Revolution, Napoleon, and then Napoleon declaring himself emperor, because I did do the Napoleonic Wars series from Epic History TV, so I have covered Napoleon. I mean, not as extensively as I would like to, because that just really covered his military campaigns, but there's a lot of stuff about Napoleon that I still have yet to learn. It's interesting that there was a second Napoleon that eventually came along and declared himself a dictator, I guess. Alright, so there you go. A little bit of history of France and its republics and dictatorships and monarchies summed up there in the last couple hundred years. So please answer my questions down in the comments if you can. I would appreciate it. Also give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet. I have links links to social media, Discord, my Patreon, where I have some videos that I don't do here on YouTube. You can check those out in the links in the description and pinned comment. I have a Star Trek podcast for all of you Trekkies out there. You can check it out, link in the description and pinned comment as well. I also have my P.O. Box info in the description if you're looking for that. Anyway, Roger here, and I thank you guys for watching. We'll have more like European history coming up on this channel, and we'll see you guys next time.